Hi there, it's your girl Nenecherry here. Hi there, it's a girl Nenecherry here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time tuning in, you are really welcome. And please do stay by subscribing and hitting that notification button so that when I upload a new video, you will be among the MVPs. And I'm sure they know this, And do like, do comment, share your views upon listening to my content. It actually helps me grow my content. It also helps me grow because in this channel, every moment is a teachable one. So without taking much of your time, you know, today it's more of a storytelling. And when I say storytelling, it's not just like I'm coming up with any other story. To those that have been with me, you know that I talk about things that are close to my heart. And now this story is kind of personal, not even kind of, man. Why am I saying kind of? It is personal because it happened to me, and I drew some lessons out of it. Okay, so just to put you into context, I tend to have quality time with my children, and I mean, some people will be like, "Don't we all do that?" But I don't know how you do it. But I make dates with them, so I go either one on one or sometimes we go as a group, and yeah, just going there to have fun, reflect, and if there's any moment, and I'm sure they even make me to be this boring parent because then every moment, like I'm saying even on this channel, it's a teachable moment because something just comes in and says, I think we need to talk about this, we need to talk about that. And I hope they have fun as I do. But anywho, so having said that, on this day, I think it was around winter time last year. On this day, I was not feeling too good, okay? But I knew that I had promised someone, because I don't want to mention their names, I promised someone that I would be taking them out, all right? Because it was their turn for them to go out with me. So I wasn't feeling too good. And I was in my baggy clothes. So think of a baggy Jay-Z, baggy pants, and my Woolies beanie and my Crocs. Nothing wrong with everything that I've mentioned, but it would depend on who's seeing me. All right. I would say I was comfortable, but my comfortability might not be your comfortability, right? So anywho, so I was like, you know what, because I promised and I'm able to walk, I'm able to talk, I'm able to even actually smile, why not? Let's go out. So we went out with my child, and as we went to a mall, and our plan was to go and have some booba, all right? I don't know if they call it tea or something, but we were about to have booba. So as we were walking, it just hit me, and I began to share my fascination of comics, at least at the time when I was young. And I'm talking about, the Wonder Woman and the what American, Captain American. I don't even know how to even pronounce it, and other things. And it so happened that as we were talking about it, across us there was a comic shop. All right. Then my daughter's like, "Mom, look, there's a comic shop. Let's go and check it out." And I was like, why not? And in my head, I thought, because it's her date or anything, if she wants something, and I'm sure if it's in a reasonable price, I would get it for her. But anyway, I didn't say I'm gonna go get it, but I just thought like that anyways. So we went into the shop, and as I'm just entering, I'm a very particular person, and maybe to some it's so with you, maybe you can relate by you commenting, um, it has gone, so I don't know if it's too good or too bad that even the Uber people, to those that even, like, whereby, sometimes you find that it's the same driver that is taking you maybe for second time or third time, and they might not remember, but I would, because I try by all means to take it all in. Maybe I might not remember the car, I might not remember the name, but I will remember the face. I will remember what that person was wearing and what we were talking about on that day, because I always engage them. I don't even know if maybe they're just like, this woman, can she just. But anyway, because they laugh, they talk and everything, I feel like, okay, they enjoy that conversation. But anywho, so with that, even when I was entering into that shop, I just started noticing things like, okay, we enter, it wasn't only us entering, there were some people that were coming through. And then these two shop attendees, is that what you call them, a horse? They come through to these other guys and they're like, oh, welcome, throwing all those kind pleasantries to them. And then as I looked to my left, and yeah, it was on my left, as I looked to my left, there's this guy who's also part of the shop, but just looks at me and then looks away. And then I was like, anywho, I mean, those two were occupied, he was not occupied, and whatever he had in mind, I mean, it was on his own. Then I was like, I mean, we're window shopping, and I'm just here trying to tell my girl of what it is and everything. So there were some comic books there. There was some nowadays they even have, do you call, I would, lack of a good term, I'll call them toys. They have like toys displayed and all that. And so I begin to explain to her, and we're talking. And then the girl tempted to touch whatever that was put on display. And guess who comes to me, to my daughter, and says, um, by the way, do you know that those things are expensive? Okay. And I was like, ooh, okay. Mm, they are expensive. And I felt some type of a way. I've never felt that before in my life. Talk about maybe rest, talk about either if one feels like they're about to do or they're upper class and I'm done. I've never felt like that. Even when I would see the arrogance in them, because I would feel like I am special too. You cannot make me feel like that. But on that day, I felt so bad. And I don't know if it's because I was with my daughter, or could it be because I wasn't feeling too well? So I was would you call it irritable? I don't know. I was quite irritated on that day. So I was like, really? I didn't even get like any pleasantries. And this is the first thing that you say to me. And I'm your possible customer. I don't know if that's how you can put it. What if I want to shop and you told me this? I would understand. Don't get me wrong. I would understand if he came to me, even if he didn't give me all those kind of pleasantries that like they do, as I know as shop owners. They'll be like, welcome to our shop. How may I help you? And maybe you say, no, I'm just looking. And so, okay, feel free to call me. I'll be standing. Those kind of pleasantries. But he never gave me that. And the other thing is, I would understand if he said, uh, okay, when you break, please be careful. I don't even know how to say it myself, but like if you break it, you know that you have to pay or something like that. But don't come at me, who is supposed to be your possible customer, and tell me that these things are expensive. Because for me, that was just like, okay, I don't have to be here. I don't know if my daughter got it or not, but she kept was like, oh, and look, mom. And I was like, no, dear, we gotta go. We need to leave this shop. And he's just looking at me. And, and my daughter's like, but why? I was like, didn't you hear? These things are kind of expensive. And when I looked at the price, and I was like, man, I can, not just to feel myself, but I could afford that, if my daughter, and that is, if my daughter wanted that thing, I would have afforded it. So then I was like, okay, it beat me from the time when we're even having that date. Not that I had to express it to her, because she was quite young for me to even actually explain the whole situation or on how I was feeling. But she was just like, oh, but that uncle just came and said this thing's expensive. Is it that you couldn't pay? And I was just like, man, I think he didn't want us to break those things and everything. So I had to explain it in that way. But I was like, no, man, this is not how it's supposed to be done. So after our date, I got home and I shared it with my oldest daughter. And it was like, and just in a teasing way. And it just made me laugh. Even when it's a teasing way, and somewhat also it was quite kind of sensitive, because she was like, well, what race was he? Okay. What race was he? And I was like, no, he was white. And then she was like, so he was doing the race card on you. And then I was like, I don't think it was about that. And I'm a person who's always trying to look for a good thing even in a bad situation, but I couldn't even find it. And that's what was eating me up. Okay. So I was like, And then she was like, okay, okay, so it was a man that's like, yes, then I don't know, whatever you call it, where when there's a man and a woman hate situation, I don't know what it's called. She mentioned it, then I was like, oh, do you think so? Or at first when she said maybe it's a race car, then I was like, no, after he did that, there was a black guy that came in and he did the, the pleasantries and whatever and whatnot. And then she was like, okay, then because you're a woman, this is why maybe he did that to you. And then I was like, it wasn't like that. But then as we talked and we're busy laughing, even when she was saying, you could have actually, you know what, in this day and age, nowadays you could have just like, you know what, took out your phone and instead saying, hey, look at this. That was like, oh, I know I'm petty, but I'm not that kind of petty. And I think it's the now generation that people do that. I don't feel like I can do that to anybody, but I don't know. But I didn't feel like it, and I don't think I would have even done it anyways. But after that, I tried to brush it off, but it kept on coming to me, and I was like, why? Why did that happen? And then I was like, okay, wait a minute. The guy that came through, that was of my race, was well dressed. Okay. So even when I was telling my daughter, she had also another thing about it. But then I was like, I think that's the thing. But just to prove it, for me to understand it, I need to do something. So I decided, because I was going to meet a friend right at that same mall. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to dress up this time. I'm going to do up and dress to the T like I'm going to church and enter that shop. Not that I even want to buy, just to see if I'll meet the same guy and see if the treatment will be the same. So the day came, I did go, and I went into that shop, and lo behold, who came to help me? The same guy. The pleasantries that I was looking for on that day that I didn't have, he gave it to me. He was so nice, so kind, smiling, and I didn't give him any attitude. I went with the flow, and he started showing me stuff and everything, and then says, okay, he's gonna just leave me to have some time and see, and when I decide, all those things. And I just went round, because I think they're called rows. There's this row and that row. So I just went one and two, three in a zigzag manner, and I was like, all right, thank you so much. I don't want to mention the name because I still remember the name. And then it was like, okay, feel free next time. Da, 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 da. And it was like, okay. And then that's when it hit me. Actually, it was about my dressing. In as much as he judged me upon what he saw, even when he was not supposed to do that. As a customer, I have a right, I guess, to dress the way I want, to come in the way I want, and if I want to buy, I buy. Or for the fact that I have a right as a person to just go full window shopping without any fuss, right? But he judged me over that without even knowing if I'm able or not, and which is wrong because I'm not in support. But then it hit me for the fact that I was like, this is what even Christians do. Most of us, we say, God knows what's in our heart, but then we don't dress the part. We don't do the things that God asks of us. We don't live like it, but yet we're saying God knows the heart. But do you know that what's in the heart comes out of, like, the real you, the one that is inside here? The dirty you that's inside here comes out. So, excuse me, a person cannot say, I'm a clean person, and yet they don't do the cleaning around their is it their place or whatever. And they want to say, okay, I know in my heart I'm clean, in my heart and whatever. You have to actually live by it. And now as Christians, most of us, we tend to do that, and sometimes we then will be like, okay, people are judging me even when they are not. Even in the corporate, let me even not get to the Christian part first. In this world that they tell you to dress the part, all right, in the corporate world there's a certain way that you have to dress. In the fashion world there's a certain way that you have to dress so that they can address you in a certain way. If you need respect, you need to act like one. If you need love, you need to show it as well. So with everything comes with what you do or what you say. So if I say certain things, this is why I don't know, I don't know if I'm sounding, like here and there, but I've told my friends or whoever that I come and encounter with, and then if they are quite vulgar or they're whatever, for me, when they do that, already I just feel like, oh man, you just so rotten. Okay. Um, Everything that's in here reflects out. And so, as a Christian, if you say you are a child of God, in everything that you do, must show. I know that in this world, as the devil does it, I know that there are people that can test you to the core that you lose it. And it is okay to get angry, by the way. It's okay to feel indifferent, by the way, but how you get angry, how you feel indifferent is what matters. And as a child of God, there's a certain way that you can come off, that you cannot be misjudged. Yes, there are people that are going to judge you, like this guy, because of the way I was dressed, right? But there'll be people that are going to judge you even when you're doing the right things that you're capable of, but just for the fact that the way you look, or maybe they are not just ready to receive the word of God, and then they're going to judge you and put you into certain boxes, even when you know that you're not that person. That's them on that part. But what I'm talking about is the person that claims to be something and yet they act the other. So it's like you're saying you're this, but you're acting contrary to the other thing. So I wanted to relate this story with this what I'm talking about, because most of the times we feel so comfortable in thinking we can get away with anything, especially as Christians. For the fact that I say Lord, for the fact that I say God is good, for the fact that I go to church, for the fact I've got friends and family from church and all that, it feels like I'm actually truly a Christian. But a Christian that does the Christian that does not do the things that God asks him or her, I don't know what they are. And for me, I feel like you're just actually being just religious in a way, okay? Whereby you're like, just like the Pharisee. I don't want even to get into that because I think I've got a lesson on that also for another day. But it just feels like you just want the brand and say this is the brand, but yet you're living in a different way. So as a person, a child of God, or as a person in a corporate world, as a person in just in general in the world, you are whatever you say has to be what you do. Your word must be what you do. Your word must be what you think as well. Because everything that is in the heart comes out of you, it reflects out of you. And when we talk about this thing, I know that someone is like, oh, someone has got a beautiful heart. And there's some people who label other people ugly, and there are other people who label, other people beautiful. I mean, this is the world that we're living in, even when God has created us in his image, right? So you'd find that some people will be telling you that, oh, she's got a beautiful heart, even if she doesn't have that pretty face. But you'd find that people will actually, even to the ones that they think is ugly, for the fact that they are doing good things, maybe act of service, as a love language, they are good to people, they are hospitable and all that, then you just see the beauty that comes out within. And that's what most of the time they say, the inner beauty, huh? The inner beauty. So something that's inside you will always come out because of, because that's who you are. I don't even know why I say because of. I think I'm zoning out. It's because that's who you are. Because if it's in your heart, you definitely, you will show it. You're gonna show it. And like I was saying earlier, I've said it to my people. I think I just cut it out to say okay because they're vulgar. But even when we're having a heated moment, what you say at that moment, you cannot blame it to say because I was angry. No, it's because it's something that you thought about at that moment. This is why every time, even the Bible tells us that be quick to what? To listen. And it's the same thing. Be quick to listen before you what? You say things out. But the moment you blunt out things just because you're saying because I'm angry or because the person made me do whatever, it's actually you at the end of the day. So let us watch what we do. Let us watch how we dress. And when I say dress, I'm making it as a metaphor. for the fact that as a child of God, there are certain things that you have to do that will indicate, as the Bible says, you shall know them by their what? By their fruits. So there are certain things that you will do. And forgive me if my eyes are like closing up. Anywho, I don't want to explain much about it. But anyway, you shall know them by their fruits, because that's who they are. They cannot change. Be it that the wind comes and throws them or tosses them right and about, they will still stand as who they are. You cannot say no because the person did this to me or the person did that. So dress accordingly, not as in just in the physical side of things, but spiritually, mentally, socially, and I do not know what other way that you may think of it. So I just thought I should come here and share what had happened to me and the lesson that I got out there, not other than just to say dress accordingly in terms of the physical side, but on how you live as a child of God. Because I want to believe that I'm reaching out to anybody here, not even anybody, to everyone, because everyone here is a child of God. And it's just a matter of you deciding or choosing Him over everything. Otherwise, remember to subscribe, to like, and comment with whatever you've learned in this story today. And hit the notification button so that when I upload a new video, you will be among the MVPs. Bye.
And guide you all the way for the love.